Hello. This is something you see around a lot. Um, Actually, you see these by these guys in general. You see a lot. Dire Straits. I think they're pretty massive around the world. They're obviously, I think they were Scottish. I think you'd say. Well, it says in here British, formed in London, but I'm pretty sure Mark Knopfler and his brother are Scottish. But then I'm not exactly sure. Oh yeah, it says they're born in Glasgow. I don't know if they grew up there or not, but yeah, the thing with Scotland and Britain is always not puzzles me, but some people you hear them speak and they sound, you know, clearly Scottish, quite a thick Scottish accent, even not even a necessarily thick Scottish accent, but you can still tell they're Scottish. And then there are others, like Gordon Ramsay, for example, is Scottish, I believe, and he doesn't sound Scottish at all to me. He sounds quite kind of southeast England type accent. But then I'm not an expert. Anyway, not important. Dire Straits. So another thing that surprised me is that when I looked at their entry in Wikipedia, it said they were formed in 1977 and they were active from 1977 to 1988, so 11 years, and again from 1990 to 1995. That's really short. They kind of, for me, Dire Straits kind of are a timeless band. And I don't mean that in the quality of their music, because to be honest, I'm not really the biggest Dire Straits fan at all. But their music just is so ubiquitous and everywhere. And all, for me, I guess for a 44-year-old man growing up in New Zealand, all was just always there. And I guess part of that is because when I grew up in the 80s was kind of their commercial heyday. But even beyond that, through the 90s and through still till now, they're one of those bands that you always hear. And I'm quite surprised that they haven't been together as a band since 1995, 30 years ago. And they don't seem to have had any kind of reunions or anything. Now, that might not be 100% correct. They may have had kind of one-offs, maybe, like a lot of bands do and did. But just kind of scanning through the article, it doesn't seem like they did. It seemed like after 95, they went on and... Oh, no, it says, hang on, it says... Yeah, okay, I'm not going to read all that. Let's just talk about the CD. Again, I remember seeing this around in the late 90s. I'm not sure exactly when this particular Greatest Hits collection was released. 98. There we go, on Mercury. It's got 16 tracks, three of them live. And this particular one's a 30% off. Most CD kind of stickers, like price stickers or discount stickers, I usually recognize the shop they're from, but that particular one I don't recognize. Now, one of the reasons I have, there's a few little nicks and scratches on there, but for a 27-year-old CD, it's pretty decent. One of the reasons I'm not really the biggest Dire Straits fan is because it's funny how certain kind of people or relationships can affect your feeling about a band. And I remember I had a girlfriend and she loved Dire Straits. She was the same age as me, so it's kind of not as though it's kind of a strange thing for someone. This is when would have been early 20s, someone of that age to really love Dire Straits, but for whatever reason she did, and I could never really get it. I know that's Mark Knopfler. I don't know. Is that his brother? No, that's his brother, isn't it? Or is that so? That's Mark Knopfler. It's not different guys. That's the same guy, I think. Is it? Unless him and his brother look really similar. And so I, the negativity that ensued from that relationship colored my perspective on Dire Straits. But even before that, oh, there's their bands. You see if I can pick out here. Oh, I don't know. No idea. All these people played in the band, and some, I guess, a lot of them were touring musicians. Jeff Porcaro plays. Sting, of course, he was on Money for Nothing. I Want My MTV. Don't see if I can recognize any of the other names. Anyway, as for the track listing, so Sultans of Swing, that song's okay, but it's one of those classic rock radio staples that you'll hear if you put on a classic rock station here in Auckland. Turn it on at, let's say, 7 in the morning when you wake up if you're a normal person, and listen through the work day until 5 or 6 in the afternoon. You will hear Sultans of Swing at least once, if not twice. Sometimes they have those no repeat work days. No repeat work day. And if you hear the same song twice, we'll give you $500, something like that. So they might be able to kind of get out of it in that way. But regardless, you'll hear it at least once. Romeo and Juliet, I can't stand that song. They're kind of like, how can I put it? There's certain bands, and I can't express this in the way that I want to express. It's a mystery to me how people can like them. Like that song, Romeo and Juliet, is, in my view, just a bad song, but I know many people disagree with me, and many people who probably know more about music than me disagree with me, and they would look at some of the things I like and think, well, what about this and what about that? And of course, but I'm just saying from my personal opinion, Ton of Love, probably these are boring songs, maybe I'd say. Twisting by the Pool, awful. So Far Away. Now that song's okay-ish. Quite an 80s feeling to it. Again, it just, it's like wallpaper. It's just there. It's always there. Sultans of Swing, So Far Away, Walk of Life, another song I fucking can't stand. Money for Nothing, that's a decent song. I'll give them that. Brothers in Arms, also. That's probably my favorite Dire Straits song. I just said Walk for Life, awful. Calling Elvis. If anything, I'd say those three there, Calling Elvis, Heavy Fuel, and On Every Street, I would say I would give them a little bit more of a pass because you don't hear them as often as fucking, sorry, swearing, but as some of those other ones like Twisting by the Pool and Walk of Life and Romeo and Juliet and Sultans of Swing. So you say, well, why do you have this album if you so detest them? I wouldn't say I detest them. I've kind of come on a bit strong there in my emotional reaction, but it's just boring is what it is. Like when I think of that song So Far Away or Walk of Life, it's just instant channel change on the radio, instant track skip on the whatever I'm listening to. I kind of have this almost because Dire Straits hold a place in rock history, and I accept that, and I guess to a degree respect that, but it is strange that I have it when I really don't enjoy their music at all, beyond 2 songs really. Then this one is the other CD I have. The Brothers in Arms album, which I'm going to guess came out in 1985. That's 85 or 86. I can't see, it's not focusing. Look at my own eyes. It's 85. That's a pretty good guess. 9 tracks, short and sweet. And this song, this album, I don't know how many albums this sold. I'm gonna quickly have a look while I speak, but I know it was a lot. It was kind of one of those mega selling 80s albums because it came out kind of at the start of the massive kind of uptick in CD sales. You know, CDs were still kind of a relatively new technology in 1985. Okay, this is interesting. It was the first album in history to sell over 1 million copies in CD format. How much did it sell in total? I'm going to guess, if it has it on here. I'm trying to think of those songs. You know, Money for Nothing was such a massive MTV hit as well, I think, and that would have kind of driven it. I'm going to say 17 million copies worldwide. Let's see. Come on, give me a number instead of all these lists. Okay, well, it sold 9. Well, I think I'm on the money here. 9 million in the US, 4.5 in the UK. So what's that? That's 13 and a half right there. And then kind of like Switzerland, 300,000, Spain, 300,000, New Zealand, 20, holy fuck, 24 times platinum in New Zealand. That is insanity. I've never seen something like that, that number of multipliers platinum in New Zealand before. Wow. Maybe that's why I hear it on the radio so much. It's because it sold 24 times platinum here. 360,000 copies. In the 1980s in New Zealand, the population, like right now, the population in New Zealand is about it's between 5.5 and 6 million. The population in the 80s was like 3 million. So if it's like 360,000, that means like 1 in 10 people bought that album. I guess they weren't all in the 80s. I guess it sold throughout the 80s and 90s. Okay, well that is nuts. That's actually a shock. Sold 2 million in France and got diamond status. 6 times platinum in Denmark. Australia 17 times platinum. Okay, it's well over 17 million copies. I'd say. Okay, it says right here, 30 million copies worldwide. See, I've really underestimated them. It makes sense, and at the same time it doesn't, because I think, well, how the fuck did this sell 30 million copies? But I'm saying, like, it's ubiquitous and you hear it on the radio. Well, yeah, it makes sense. That is one of the highest selling albums of all time, I would assume. 30 million. What like Thriller, I think, is actually, that would be interesting. I'm gonna quickly search that. That what would be the top 10 highest selling albums of all time? Is Money for Nothing? Probably, I think it might. Brothers in Arms might not be on there, but it might be in the top 20. Let's see, top 20 album selling worldwide. It's hard to kind of quantify worldwide because it's not every country tracks the same way as America does or did. Okay, Thriller number 1 with 50 million. Eagles is number 2, the greatest hits. 3 is The Bodyguard. 4 is Eagles with Hotel California, Shania Twain, AC/DC, Led Zeppelin 4. This is meant to be worldwide, so this is saying that Alanis Morissette sold 24.3, but it hasn't mentioned Dire Straits, which sold more than that. Okay, there's various lists here. Well, that doesn't help me there, does it? If that Wikipedia article is right, regardless, it would be up there. It would be in the conversation and kind of what the biggest, when I say biggest selling, I mean in that kind of top 20, top 30 kind of realm. Wow. And I've got a second-hand copy that I got for $1. Let's put on Vertigo. When I see that symbol, you know, I think of the Black Album. Was that put out by Vertigo? In my mind, it was. I mean, what if I'm completely wrong and it wasn't put out by Vertigo? Anyway, I don't really have much else to say about Dire Straits. It's kind of strange that I have these. I guess I have a few CDs like this where it's almost I have them, like I said, for their place in the historical continuum of rock music of the later half of the 20th century. And having a look at those numbers, even more so, it kind of makes sense because this was a massive album. But after I bought these initially, whenever, I got these for probably $1.50 each in the last 5 years. I can't remember exactly. Quite a long time ago, though, I think. You see, like I said, you see this for secondhand quite often, this particular one, and this one to time as well. I played them through once when I bought them, and I don't think I've ever listened to them again. And when I say that, I know what some people would think, maybe non-collectors, or even some collectors, they think, well, why do you have CDs that you don't listen to? What's the point? And I agree to an extent. But another part of it is I feel like my musical taste evolves kind of continuously. And there's so much music that I like nowadays that I, even 5 years ago, I didn't like or didn't even know about. And sometimes I think, well, if I get rid of this, what if I like it again? And what if there is a time that I do want to listen to Dire Straits? Can't imagine that happening. Just turn on the goddamn radio, probably hear it within an hour. But it can happen. But yeah, when I think about it, really, I could get rid of this one because the two songs that I actually quite like, Brothers in Arms and Money for Nothing, are both on this. Where this is chock full of songs that I can't stand, like Romeo and Juliet and fucking Walk of Life. Although I do like Sultans of Swing enough to want to keep it. Anyway, not much in the way of useful information there, really, but there never is there? We'll leave it there. Thank you for watching.